Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lokalfeed show. My name is Azura and our guest today is Munah Bagharib. Munah is known as Singapore's very own funny girl. Her first appearance online was when she first started a YouTube show with Hirzi. She is a Jill of all trades. She's dabbled with theatre, she's appeared on TV shows, co-produced plays and more. She is not only talented, but her personality just lights up the room with such warmth and, of course, humour. On this episode, we talk about the importance of talking it out, how by using humour as an approach to create impact and start conversations, dealing with cyberbullying and how to take yourself away from such negativity. Before we get into it, if you want to support us, there are a few ways you can do so. Share an episode with your friends. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are now on iTunes and also Spotify. You can spot us there too. So, without further ado, remember, be bold and stay inspired. Here is Munah Bagharib. How do you get started? You know, you are from the beginning, because I think it's very interesting, your journey. I mean, I've read your journey, but I mean, we would love to share with you.
Wow, this is like history lesson. It's gonna take a while. Like in a brief but also like detailed. I started I felt like I started organically and in two ways. So with the YouTube channel, with me and Hirzi, it really started because we were very narcissistic. We thought we should have cameras all around us all the time, and no one was doing it, so we're like, we do ourselves. So that one, we really wanted to do it just for fun, and when we came up with the concepts initially, it was all very it was all very simple. You know, it's just something to laugh at. And it was just something to share with our friends and things like that. But what happened was that when we uploaded it on YouTube, and we used YouTube back in school because both of us were from mass comm, and we just use it to upload assignments and share with friends. Like, I got A for this, check out my link. So like we were just already using YouTube, and we didn't think much of it. But it just so happened when we uploaded our first video on Munna Hirzi Official, which was 10 Days, that 10 Days series, other people started watching it, and YouTube was a growing medium at that time. So it really just like was our luck. So when other people watching it and were asking for more, we were like, hey, what's this? Like, we were just doing it for our friends, right? Yeah, what's going on? So we're like, okay lah. And then we met Huba, and Huba wanted to do another episode of 10 Days. And like, it just took off from there. So it really just became something that was our baby that worked at that time. And it became a platform for us. Like at the same time, I just graduated. Like Hirzi and I just graduated.
So sorry, I'm just gonna pause you a bit. When was this?
This was in 2009, 2009.
So
yeah,
good 10 years.
Pretty much. Yeah. So at the same time, me and Hirzi just graduated, and you still like finding jobs and blah blah blah. And I was working part time at CNBC as a like news assistant and technical operator, because I interned there. I auditioned. I interned there when I was in school. Yeah, so I was working there, but I knew like I have always loved acting, and I wanted to go into it, but I just didn't know how. You just graduated. You're like, what do I do? And I think that's something that people face also nowadays. Like, just where do I go if I want to go into the arts? But what happened was that Hirzi was already auditioning for work, and he told me about this other audition that I should just try. So I did, and I got a role there, and I got the leading role. Like for some reason, I was like, wow, okay, this is great. So I think like that happened, and then like it opened up a lot more doors for me to do a lot of acting on TV. So yeah, that is really how I started.
So you no, but I mean it's okay. You mentioned that it's a platform. So initially it started out as just something for fun. Yeah. But as the number of years, right? What kind of message, or is there a specific message, or just really for fun?
So that's interesting that you asked that, because what happened was that when we first started, it was really just for laughs, and during that 10-day series, people liked it because it was honestly like just stupid slapstick humor. We were just going around screaming, right?
Yeah.
But there was a comment that like resonated with us, and they said, "Oh, you know what? These two are just good for slapstick humor. Like they have no real content, they have no real like brains behind them." So we're like, "Oh, okay, challenge accepted." So then we conceptualized a new kind of video content called Sex Appeal and Jokes, and that was. I think our branding has always been humor. So we used humor to talk about issues that were relevant at that time or important to us. So yeah, it became like a talk show-ish, but also with skits, and like that's the birth of our characters, like all our characters that you see on the channel before. So we used that as a platform to talk about important messages. And then it evolved into parodies. So our first music parody was actually one by Letitia Shah, who was our Filipino maid at that time. And at that time also, when we thought like, okay, let's do music parodies, so her cause was always for foreign worker rights. Like we have like a soft spot for them. They've always been in our videos like from the dawn of time, right? And we love them. Like there's just so much like energy and acceptance from them every single time. Like they're so gung-ho to be part of the video. Sometimes they volunteer themselves and we're like, okay, can also. And I feel like there's just no, or at least at that time we felt like there was no voice for them. Like they were going through a lot of stuff during the time when we were doing the parodies. There was the whole like off day thing. There was the whole like how they were living, the wages they were getting, and there was just no voice for them or for people to talk about them in our kind of age range. So we wanted to do that for them. So Letitia Shah was our voice for the foreign workers, and we did it through like crazy weird videos, of course, but like the message was there, like the core of the video was really the message to stand up for their rights. And then what happened was, I'm telling you really like history lesson.
No, it's okay.
So like that was the evolution of our channel. Like it started from like something just slapstick to something with more purpose. But I think what really changed the game was in 2012.
Okay.
So Hirzi and I, we got an opportunity to have like our own drama on Surya.
Okay.
And what happened was that I think before the show came out, a lot of people misunderstood that the content of the show itself was going to be stuff from our YouTube channel, and that it was very controversial. It was daring, it was just crazy, right? And people were thinking like, oh my god, is that going to be on Surya? No way. But honestly, the show was actually like, how Everybody Loves Raymond is loosely based on his life, so it was kind of like that. But I think people like just completely misunderstood. They immediately thought like, okay, this is what they're going to show.
Because they already had a perception of
of course, and we already had people that were not fans of our work. So that happened, and there was a whole drama, and that was really the first time that we encountered that kind of negative wave. So it really shook me. I didn't even know this could happen. You know what I mean? Because we were very new to it, the internet scene, and the internet scene was also still very new in Singapore. So for that to happen, to have all these like hate going on online and just people bashing you, you're just like, and I don't know how old I was, but I was young and I didn't know how to handle it. But I think Hirzi and I were both lucky because we had each other, and that's how we got through that time. But at that point of time, before that happened, we actually thought like, oh, okay, we're done with this YouTube. We want to focus on our own stuff. But when that happened, it brought us down, yes. But at the same time, it also pushed us, and we said like, you know what? No, we can't stop. People need to hear things from our side. People still need this platform where we talk about things that are important, and we talk about this hate that's going on. Like, we still needed to be around, and that's what we thought. We thought like, you know what? Okay, fine, we'll push on. We need to make our message heard, and which we did, and I feel like things just happen for a reason each time. So even during that time, I think like a few months after that, we did a YouTube Fan Fest, and there was a meet and greet that happened, and you know, it's a typical like take photo and then like, okay, sign don't know what, and then like, and we had like an hour or so of that. Okay, so like after a while, like we were done in like very fast. It was done very quickly because like people were queuing, like as Singaporeans, right? We're very good. We know the so people were queuing, and then after they were done, they were just hanging around, and we were like, okay guys, I guess we're done, but we still have the space. So me and Hirzi thought like, okay, you know what? Like since we still have time, come on, let's sit down and talk to each other. Just like ask us questions, anything. And we really thought like it would be like a stupid funny thing where they ask us stupid questions and we just answer, right? Because how often do you get to meet with the people who follow you? And as soon as everyone like settled down, we're like, okay, ask us anything. And someone started, or like all of them started to talk about like really personal issues that they wanted our advice on or our opinions on. And both of us were like, oh, okay, I guess this is serious. But it was super touching. Like I was personally very, very touched, because for them to open up to complete strangers that they've never met, they've only seen online, was really something. And that's when we thought like, yeah, I guess this kid, these bunch of kids really see something in us, and we see something in them, and we want to do a lot more stuff for them. And our platform is not only for our messages, it's also for their messages, you know, their voices to be heard. And that's when we really changed the kind of content that we put out. Every single video had like a purpose or a message, as crazy or like stupid as it is with the Minas especially. There was always like a core message that was very important to both us and our followers. So yeah, that's how Munah Hirzi Official evolved.
Okay, because I wanted to ask you, like, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, people always have their opinion on things, right? Or their they only see one thing and they assume that everything is like that, right? So how do you actually deal with this negativity? I mean, cyberbullying, do you get that often?
Oh, I get it all the time. But with me on my own, I'm like really carefree, and I'm just like, if you don't like me, you don't like me lah. So when like they come and like do like nasty comments on me, I just block them.
Okay,
you get blocked. It's as simple as it is. I lazy. But honestly, like I just feel like as I grow older, also I'm very old, as I grow older, I feel like you need to. It is very important to cut out negativity from your life. Like it's like even with people that you know or people who are your friends, if they're just a ball or they're causing you just to not be who you want to be or to doubt yourself, whatever, then you don't need that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a fine line between constructive criticism and just plain bullying or hate. And if that's happening to you, you really don't need it. You have to stand up for yourself. It's hard. It's hard, and it takes time for you to learn that. But it's possible. It's possible for you to grow and stand up for yourself. But with the negativity online, like I said, it really is. There's a difference between constructive criticism and just like noise. And we take that with the comments that come. Usually, if it's noise, we're like, okay, whatever. But if it's true criticism, we do take it and we do analyze it. We're like, okay, you know what are we doing wrong? So with that whole saga that happened also back in 2012, we didn't just like, oh, whatever, they hate us, you know what I mean? It was something, and it was a time for us to reflect on what we were doing. And we do realize that yes, we were controversial, and yes, we were very bold, but there's always a better way to do it. You know, you don't have to just like go loud and go noisy and like, this is what I stand for, you know. But there is always a way to do it that is intelligent, that has substance. And that's how we crafted our work from then onwards. We realized that, okay, you know what, we need to grow and need to understand how to do this better without being completely just offensive for no reason. Yeah.
But you get misunderstood a lot of times.
All the time. What are we talking about? Misunderstanding happens all the time. Like even while I'm talking online, you know, it happens all the time. And what's hard is that when things or messages get misunderstood, especially online, people can just easily come in anonymously and just like go crazy on it, right? And the difficult part is that when you try and explain yourself, they won't listen, because that's just their opinion and that's how they want to stick it. There's no room for communication and understanding. I'm not saying that for every single person, but that is just the general idea of bullying or hate online. You know, they just want to poke at you and they want you to like but then of course there is a separate bunch that will communicate and will kind of open up to understanding you, and I think that's very, very important. Like whatever happens online, like we have so many like weird sagas that happen online, right, or like misunderstandings that happen in Singapore, but the point is that all these misunderstandings, they have like a silver lining, which is communication. Like, oh, there's an open communication now to talk about like whether this issue is right, who is wrong, instead of just bashing it like, no, you're wrong, I'm not going to listen to your explanation. So yeah.
Okay, right now you're talking about open communication, right?
Yeah.
Does that happen? I mean, because you see, I mean, okay, go back to your content.
Yeah.
You said that controversial is bold,
Yeah.
sometimes can be raised, like, I mean, interesting, but some people don't really agree to it and stuff like that, right? So,
because for the sole purpose that it stands for a very important message or a core message, and with our branding, with our humour, it is how we kind of shape it and put the message out there. Like you said, like misunderstandings happen, but at the same time, the open communication does happen. It takes a bit to kind of get there, but I feel like as we are progressing further, or like at least in the last 2-3 years, people have started to realize that, okay, whenever bad things happen, we should discuss it instead of just blindly hating on it. So it's a slow process, but it's starting to happen. I feel like with our generation also, as much as sometimes we get very easily offended, we talk about why we are offended now. You know, it's not just like I'm offended, I can't take it. Now people want to talk, people want their opinions heard, and I think that is already something healthy that will change the whole hate on internet. It will take a while. I wouldn't say that it's going to happen in like the next year or whatever, but it's starting. So it's a good sign, I hope.
I mean, because right now I think you're right. We're in a generation of communicating.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, I think social media, YouTube and stuff starting to pick up, right? It's I think a platform for us to kind of like share our message.
Yeah, exactly,
sense, right?
exactly. Like now, anyone can say whatever you want on social media because it's there. It's there for anyone to use. It's a great thing. It also comes with the bad stuff, where people use it for like negative stuff. But it's also a great platform because you can say whatever you want. But I always believe like if people come to me and say like, oh, I want to do this online, blah 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 blah. I will also want to do like something bold, something crazy. But I always tell them like, yes, go for it, you know, if that's what you are, if that's your branding, go for it. But always make sure that you are responsible for what you put out online. It could be something very strong, very like just like very hard for people or your audiences to take it. But as long as you're responsible, you know why you're doing it, you have substance behind what you're saying, then fine, stand by it.
So, okay, to be honest with you, you and Hirzi are very brave. I mean, you again, the responsibility. If you do it for the sake of doing it, then what's the point? But you have a message in between, read between the lines and stuff like that to share the message. So, to be honest, let me take this opportunity to say that you guys are doing awesome.
Thank you. That really means a lot. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, sorry, you and Hirzi decided to go your...
We're not friends. That's what we're trying to tell people, but people like don't believe. So we're like, but there are people who believe, so we're like, okay, let's go with that. But we closed our channel after 10 years.
I mean, what's next for you? Why this next move? Any different visions?
I always tell people this, and I don't know how many people I've told, but I feel like we've always said to ourselves, okay, let's do this for 10 years, and more importantly, it's also a time for us to kind of focus on what we want to do individually. Like we've worked with each other for 10 years, and it's been great. I feel like I've been so lucky to be able to grow in this industry with my best friend, because like you always have that support. Whatever you go through, you always have someone to like, why? Or like, help, you know? And Hirzi's been amazing. I don't know anyone that I can have that kind of working chemistry with, because it's hard to juggle being like best friends and also working together. Like there's gonna be like tiffs all over, you know, like it's hard. But with me and Hirzi, we managed to find that balance, and I think I'm very lucky to have found someone to work with in Hirzi and to also be very good friends with. So we found the balance. But what I tell people is that, like sometimes when you watch a TV series that goes on for a season too long, we feel like we are at that stage in our YouTube channel, the content where it's just nice and we're ending it on a high. So it's the right time. It's the right time for the channel, for the both of us, and it's also the right time for our followers, because this is where they can step up and do their own thing. Because we've had followers come to us and say like, oh, I want to do exactly what you do. I'm really inspired to create content, and we're like, yeah, go for it. But they're always like, no, we're not sure how to do it. But I'm like, you will never know until you learn. Like I said, just like you really have to just try. Like our YouTube channel or my life actually it's always like a trial and error. You really just have to try. It's scary, but you won't know until you try. So it's really time for them to take the stage, like they are, like I honestly feel like they inspire a lot of our work, and their stories are so important to us, and they have it, in them, and they can do it for themselves, and I can't wait to see more. I'm already seeing some people like doing stuff online, creating content that's very important to them or that's very them, and I love it. I'm just like, yeah, it's like watching your babies, like, yeah, you're doing it. I'm so excited for what's to come in the Singapore internet or YouTube scene.
That's very interesting, because I wanted to ask you, some people would like to just keep that scene to themselves, right, in that sense, because they're really doing so well and stuff like that, right? So they don't want to do something else because it's so comfortable. But you seem like you're very happy that people are, that they are doing the things that they want to do. I think how important is that, the support that you get?
That's true. Support is absolutely important. I think support is the number one thing that pushes you. It's one thing to be motivated by yourself, that believing in yourself, that is very important as well. You need that, but you also need the support from peers or friends or whatever. Peers and friends, same thing. But you also need the support from family and friends. Be it like, like whether they tell you what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right, you always need that support system to help you through a lot of things that you're finding out for yourself. And I feel like it's so important, especially in Singapore, because we're so small, and no matter what you do, like no matter what industry you're in, it's so important to also collaborate and learn from each other. Like I'm starting to do a lot more work in theatre, and not just acting, but I'm also going into like the more administrative or like back end of it, and it's so important, I feel, to learn from not only like other theatre practitioners or companies, but also outside companies, so you understand like how the whole world works. I know it sounds so cliche, but you really need to have a holistic view of how everything works in order to understand how to shape your own work or your own practices, so that it's better and it serves for everyone. Collaboration, be it in the same industry or different industries, is very important as well. And I think that's what Hirzi and I also brought into our channel. We like to collaborate with like our musician friends or our dancer friends, just to create that form of art. So like our videos are not only like ours that we produce, it's also like a lot of our other very talented friends' work, that they can like, yes, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to collaborate and shape your content as well. So the channel has always been sort of like a happy family of like work that we get to do with our friends.
So that's very nice. You mentioned collaboration, right? How open are people about collaboration?
Well,
I mean, have you ever been rejected?
It depends on. Sorry, you think?
No, it's okay.
I think it really depends on what exactly you're doing. So far, people have been happy to collaborate, I think, because they've always known what we stand for and why we do what we do. And even individually also, I've been lucky to have just either organizations or people who are very open to talking at least and discussing about potential collaboration. I think what people want to do is kind of understand how they can help you and you can help them.
It goes both ways, right?
Yeah, it really goes both ways. You can't just be all like me. You also have to help the other person. That is the point of a collaboration, just to improve and grow together. I think people are open, especially. I think it's this period of time, this generation, we're a lot more open to just exploring very different things, different and good things. Yeah.
Okay. Because so you mentioned about like the people that you know that want to start a YouTube video and stuff like that, right? I mean, if you had advice, I know you've already given like this sort of advice, right? No, but if you had like advice, like what would you share with them in that sense? That I know you say get started and stuff, but sometimes it's actually easier said than done, right? In that sense, right?
That's true.
You need that courage. In that sense. So what would you?
My advice would, first of all, to always be authentic to who you are. Know yourself, and I'm not saying like discover yourself first before you put anything up, because your whole life you have to discover yourself, right? It changes, but just always be authentic. If you grow out of something, then fine, like grow out of it and be authentic with your content. But how you actually first get started is really from you, like how much you want it and what you want to do with it. There is no one who can tell you like go. Like if someone pesters you too much and you do it, you started off with the wrong purpose. So always start off with the right purpose in mind and focus. Yeah.
Especially especially nowadays, right? Should people create content according to what people want? Because you mentioned, right, well, authentic, right? So if they drive towards the content that what people want to see, then it's not, if it's something that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So how do you?
Yeah. That's a good question. What I always tell people is that you do something or you create work or art or whatever that is relevant to you, that is authentic to you, and naturally people who resonate with your message or whatever you stand for, whatever you're doing, will come to you. It's very easy to see other people's content or see what people like, and they're like, okay, I want to do also. But sometimes it just doesn't work. Like if it's not you, it's not you. You know what I mean? So once you are you, on whatever platform you put yourself out there, people will resonate with everyone, in different kind of ways. So people who just like what you do will come to you naturally. Yeah. Don't do it for the following. Don't do it for the fame, the name, whatever. Do it for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned fame, right? Have you ever thought that? I mean, to be honest with you, you're one of the faces that. Have you ever thought that you'll be who you are today, or the face of?
No, I have never like this all. Yeah, I didn't expect this, and I honestly, I'm not trying to be like an irritating humble brag, but I honestly always feel like this is just the work I do and the things I'm passionate for, and everything else just comes along. But like to me, my focus is never to like be popular or be like I don't know
that wasn't your intention.
Yeah, it was never my intention, and I've always felt like my focus has always been that, like to just create work that I want to do and to be happy doing what I love. I just want to do what I love, that's all. But thank you so much for all the support that comes. I mean, it's really great. Like I said, like support is so important, and when you do get like messages or like just like talking to people who kind of understand why you're doing it, it feels great, and you feel like a bit fulfilled and like assured that like, okay, I'm doing something right. Yeah. So
yeah, okay. I mean, because I guess that's why you have your followers that actually connects to you, because you're genuine in that sense. But I'm sitting here talking to you and I can sense your genuineness.
Thanks. So sweet. I don't cry,
No, don't
get emotional. My friends will be watching this like, yeah, she's gonna cry anytime now.
Okay, I want to ask you, how's because you're out there, right? You YouTube and stuff. How does your family? The family support. I mean, should I not touch your
Okay. Like my mom is the sweetest. Like she's always supported me whatever I do, anything. She's like, yeah. Every show she comes to, right? And I'm like, how is it, Mom? Even though like I did something wrong, and she's like, no, it's great. I'm like, yeah, cannot get real opinions from you, but I appreciate it. She's always been supportive. My dad, however, always. My dad's a very like he has a mindset on, you know, like what you should do in life, and I understand it, like stability is very important to him, and it's very important to me as well. So when I first started doing this, where it's very like in my line of work, like it's just very uncertain, and because I'm like doing it on a freelance basis, you know, like you never know what's gonna come all the time. It's just not completely stable. So he was very concerned for the first few years that I'm doing it, and he was always asking me like, what is this that I'm doing? I think he still doesn't know what I'm doing, but he's always trying to like just fathom like why I'm going into this line, you know. And it was hard, I would say, to kind of explain it, and because I don't know myself, like with this line, like you really have to go in and you kind of feel your way around, discover like what you want exactly or which way you want to go. So it was hard to explain to him when I don't even know myself. So it took a while for him to finally accept it. But when he finally did was when he saw that I found my ground, I think, and I was stable. So he was like, okay, you're good. But yeah, like when he saw that I really have found my ground and I feel comfortable at where I'm at, and then he started to like lay off a little bit. And I think it's nice that he understands. Like the first time that I knew that he was understanding or trying to understand it was when we were at a dinner table, and we were with one of his friends whose daughters was in the line as well, like abroad. And like we were talking, and she was talking about like how she's shooting a show, and he was like, oh yeah, Munna's also shooting a show. I was like, and then I wanted to cry, of course, but I was just like, yeah, I am. But like that was just the moment where I was like, oh, okay, he's starting or trying to accept like, yes, this is what she does for a living, you know. But of course, now and then, every now and then, he's like, must be stable, you okay or not? You okay? I'm like, yeah, okay. So he checks on me, but it's a kind of love that my father gives, lah. He just makes sure that you're okay, and yeah, it was very nice for him to do that, and I appreciate it. So yeah,
I guess it's a father's worry, right? Because at the end of the day, they just want you to, you know, to do the best that you can, and it's just father's worry. But I guess, I mean, I'm sure they're very proud of you.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay,
Yeah.
because okay, going back a bit, okay, because you mentioned something about you can make a living out of this. In that sense, you know, I know because overseas, right, US, everywhere, right, people actually do make a living out of it. I mean,
this is a call for actually, please send you definitely can. It takes a lot of work. I feel like I'm not going to compare it to like other industries because it's just completely different. But I feel like it takes a lot of work and a lot of hustle to. If you want this, you really have to go all out. So like when people do talk to me about like wanting to go into this, I'm like, it's a lot of hard work, and it's very, very difficult. There are times where you will question yourself and you will want to give up on it, because it's just not that kind of life where you know something's coming at the end of the month, you know. I mean, it's very like, oh my god, what's going on? So you have to be prepared to go through it, and you have to be prepared to sometimes want to give up. But if you really are set on doing this, it is possible.
Yeah, in a sense, they're kind of like entrepreneurs also. I mentioned, right? Because I mean, it's not your typical 9 to 5, right? It's like, you know, you got to find your ways, trial and error and stuff like that. Yeah. Interesting part. Right. Yeah.
Interesting part. It's like setting up your own business, lah. Really, you know what risk you're going into. You know that there'll be hurdles and there'll be days that you're like, no, I can't do this. But you know, if that's what you want, then you gotta work very, very hard for it. Yeah, it's not easy.
Good answer. Now I'm gonna ask you slightly harder.
Okay.
What is your why?
What is my purpose?
Yes, what is your purpose? What is your why? What do you get?
Damn, what is my why? Shit. I think my why changes as I grow or as I progress further. At this very moment, I think my why is to doesn't make grammatical sense, but why I want to continue to do this is because I want to reach out on a more intimate sort of basis. I don't know if like this makes sense, but I want to do things that are for a social cause also, but on a ground level. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
it
I
makes
want to
sense.
reach out to like individuals or communities, and I want to kind of be able to create things from that, or like learn from these individuals or communities a bit more on how to do what I do and how to go about life. Yeah.
Because you've actually reached out and you actually see the impact it does, right? You do what you do with what you did with Munna Bagharib and Hirzi, the show, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of seen that there is an impact that you can.
Yeah,
that can
exactly,
be done, right?
exactly. And now, like I'm just very, or I want to focus on like a ground level. You know, like before that, it was a big community of people, and it was. Of course, we had times where we had individual moments, but it was always like a general sense of like, yes, let's do this together, let's grow together. But I feel like at this point of time, I do wanna like go more in depth into it.
Deeper
Yeah,
and more intimate.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's what's up next for you, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, so I will ask you. Okay, slightly personal. What is something that people don't know about you that you are really proud of?
I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, you.
Okay lah. Okay,
I'm
I
not sure it was.
did. Wow, very good your question. Makes me reflect on my life now. This is actually like therapy. Like, what are you proud of, Munna? I don't know. I think. I don't know. I don't know how to say it without like.
No, but it's
semuanya.
okay. No, I mean, if people really know you, I'm
so
sitting
not
here,
used
I
to
don't
this.
think you're so more.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I usually puke, by the way, when I talk about like myself. So be prepared. I don't know. I think I guess what I am just basically happy with myself is that I am resilient. I suppose yes, shit happens. You know, like things get hard, but I always push further. So go for it. Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard to push on, but like somehow or rather, I always tell myself like, no, don't fall. So yeah.
is that what you've learned for the last past?
Oh,
Is it part of how you became resilient in that sense? That 10 years, or is it before? Or you have always been that kind of like that? No, I think it's learning. It's learning from experiences, learning who you are or what makes you or what pushes you. So yeah, you do grow to be stronger lah. You I don't know. At least for me, like I never felt like I was born like strength. You know, like it was something I had to like learn. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I admire people who are just like strong in nature. Like I've always like looked every time I meet someone who's like super strong, super confident, and I'm just like, oh my god, I need to be like you. So, but it's something that you have to learn, and it takes a while, at least for me. Yeah. I think my dad is like my number one inspiration. I can say like all these other people, right? But like honestly, I think my dad has always like from young, it's always been my dad because he's strong. He pushes on. He's super confident, and he's like, no, this is what I want, this is what I stand for. You know, he's very strict Arab man. But I love him so much because as hard as he is, he's also very gentle. So he always strikes that balance, and I've always looked up to him and how he loves to help people. So I've always grown up with that, and I think that's what I've seen in life. Like, oh, that's how you should get through life. You know, you should stand up for who you are. Don't let people take advantage of you, and also still be gentle enough to help people, to be open to like, you know, people coming for help or like asking for help, especially asking for help. Yeah.
So that's why that's very beautiful. I mean, that's why you are who you are.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, enough about me already.
This is so wonderful.
Don't like talk about me. I want to puke.
Okay, I think it's gonna be slightly harder.
Oh my god, it gets harder and harder. It's like a test.
Okay, what is your most humbling experience?
Oh my god. My most humbling experience was when I can't remember how old I was, but I was young and I was in India. I was in Mumbai. You know, there's there's this mosque or no makam. I don't know
Okay.
what makam is in English.
It's okay, we'll translate
Subtitle.
it.
So there was this makam in Mumbai that's very very famous. I can't remember the name for the life of me, but it's in the middle of that whole river thing, and you have to cross this bridge to get there.
Okay.
So I was young. I don't remember how old I was, but I was young, and I was walking like to the makam, and like throughout this whole stretch were people. Oh no, I'm gonna cry.
Oh no.
Please hold. I'm not gonna cry. My friends will be like, yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're such a sensitive person. I love you so much.
I will cry if cockroaches die, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, but like throughout the stretch, there were just these people who were like, they didn't have arms. They were just poverty stricken, and it was painful to watch them. But at the same time, like they were so hopeful. I think they were like praying. They were praying to their own kind of faith, to their own kind of God, and they were just calling out, and they had so much optimism, I think, or positivity that they resonated around them, and they were some of them were like cuddling together, some of them were just lying there. And throughout the whole process, when I was walking, for some reason there was this like small little girl that was so cute. She like found me and she came to me, she's like holding my hand. So like, I was just like this small girl, right, like kind of like just going through this. And she was there holding my hand. She was a complete stranger. I don't know whose kid it was, but she was holding my hand throughout. We walked there, and then she brought me around. She was just following me throughout, and she brought me back. And it was just, it was such an experience for me, because I was never exposed to that kind of situation. So seeing the kind of strength that they had, despite whatever they were going through, it made whatever I was going through very like menial. Like there were people with like these real problems or like real life just situations that they were in, but for them to still stay strong, to still stay resilient, like really shook me. And I was like, wow, you always have to be like grateful for whatever you have, whatever you're going through, how hard it is. You just have to be grateful. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know who your hand, but I don't know how to. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I'm sorry.
You had to ask me a question. But yeah, so it was the most humbling experience for me. I felt like I was just like, okay, take a step back, you know, like you can get through. If they can get through whatever they're going, if they're going through life with this kind of attitude, then you know you gotta be strong too. Yeah.
It's a very beautiful one, because I think it's the experience. I mean, the things that when you open your eyes to see that they are, you know, that there's a lot of things that we should be grateful for, right?
Yeah.
That's what kind of makes you who you are today.
Yes, that's
because
right.
you saw that.
Very well said.
Okay, I don't want to make you cry anymore. Okay. This is okay, we are gonna wrap things up. Okay, so I got a few things.
So because I cried.
No.
Wrap things up.
No. It's okay, if you have 3 lessons, maybe if today was the last day that you have, the 3 lessons that you want to share. To the people out there, what are 3 important things that you want to share?
3 important things.
That's the message that you want to share.
That's a lot. These questions are good. I think the 3 important things. The first one is always love your parents. It's very important. Be genuine. I think just like go through life just being genuine and authentic to people around you, to yourself. I think doing that just will bring like positive vibes in your life, you know what I mean? Like just when you are genuine to other people, people will want to be genuine to you as well. And that's a good way to go about. And last one would be grateful. Yeah, just be grateful every single day. Yeah.
Okay. Aduh ya.
Ada mic, ada Sri busy. Nak nangis.
Okay. What is your definition of legacy?
Ooh,
Yeah.
what is my definition of legacy? I think legacy is when you do something or leave something that people want to continue working on for you. Yeah, I think that's very important.
And you're quite
Yeah, like I think to be able to just leave that impact on people so that they too are inspired to continue doing whatever you were doing or whatever you were leaving behind for you, so that they can continue that goodness, that you bring about. Yeah.
Just passing it on, right?
Yeah, correct. Passing it on is the word.
Oh yeah, so we're very grateful for you today.
Oh, thank you.
How can we support you?
Oh.
In that sense. What's up next? How can we support you?
Let's see. How is it? First lunch every day. No,
I thought you had lunch every day.
And apart from that, I'm working on a couple more like smaller things, more related to, like I mentioned, like just like closed group or workshop that is actually open to public as well, but more details for that to come. But I'm very excited for that kind of series because I get to meet people and talk to people. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah. How can we follow the update? Like your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
For updates, please follow me on Munah Bagharib at Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's Instagram?
Yes. Well, there's Facebook also that you can find me Munah Bagharib.
Okay.
Yeah. You just find Munah Bagharib, you can get all my updates there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for having me. I'm like so like happy with this experience. Really. Yeah. Yay! You did it.
I can't believe I didn't
I cried once. So yay! Usually I cried the whole interview. No lah, I don't. I don't. It was just you. Ask me this kind of questions. Yeah, I'm just like.
But I think that's very important, the human connection, and that's what we do that a lot. But I think it's very important for us to talk to each other.
Yes, exactly.
If I didn't have this conversation with you, right? All I see is you online, but I want people to know who you are as a person. So I think these questions are very.
Thank you.
It opens your heart.
It
see
does.
who you are.
But yeah, thanks. That's why I wanted to come. I love what you guys are doing, and I love what like the purpose for this. So I'm happy to support you.
Thank you.